So Diane Montagna has just put out this tweet an hour ago about the breakdown in communication that allowed a senior chaplain to the Grand Masonic Lodges in the UK, a senior chaplain, he's 20 years member of Freemason. He happens to be divorced as well, and he is a bishop of the Bishop of Fulham, who came to Rome with priests to celebrate Mass in front of the Cathedra of the Pope. Now, to any Anglicans looking at my video, I just want to clarify something here. I've nothing against Protestants or Anglicans or anything like this, and this isn't really a video directed or criticizing Anglicans for going to Roman pilgrimage and wishing to celebrate Mass or in Rome. So I just want to make that clear. I am more concerned about how we treat some groups in the church and how other groups, get a very, very different style of treatment. Because people will remember in the 1980s when Archbishop Lefebvre would ask to celebrate Mass. This was before he was excommunicated, would ask to celebrate Mass in different cathedrals. He would be met with refusals, and he could never understand how the Mass that was celebrated in so many places could all of a sudden be considered, banned or harmful and so forth. And I know many people will have their opinions on Archbishop Lefebvre and on the societies in Pius X. And I'm not here advocating, or I'm not here, as a spokesperson for them. But I always had great pity and great sadness for Archbishop Lefebvre, in the sense that, here was a man formed by the Catholic Church, a bishop who was part of Second Vatican II, a bishop who was, if you look at his early life, he was obedient to the church. He loved the faith. He wasn't some evil man or abuser or anything like that. He just loved the faith that he was formed in. So the church forms this man, because at the end of the day, Archbishop Lefebvre was formed by the church. The church forms a bishop to teach, preach, live the faith in one way. And then all of a sudden they say to that same archbishop, well, actually, what you are formed in, look, we have clown masses now in the 1970s. I just don't think he was able to tolerate the destruction of what he held as most sacred, which was the sacrifice of the Mass. And so to any Anglicans listening to my videos, or Protestants listening, this video isn't about you. It's about us Catholics, how we treat the most sacred part of our faith, which is the body of our Lord, which is, the sacrifice of the Mass. This debate that has gone on for 50 years. And Anglicans now, traditional Anglicans, have stepped in the middle of something, a debate that's been going on for the last 2 years. But I just want to remind people, St. John Lateran, that basilica, just here's a little recap about that particular basilica and why this caused such a nerve and in the church, why this caused such a reaction that a Freemason bishop, supposedly he has resigned, but 20 years a chaplain to the Grand Lodge of England, the deputy chaplain, openly Freemason, and how a bishop who is a member of the Freemasonry for so many years can land in Rome with his priests and get access to that to celebrate Mass in front of the Cathedra of the Pope. But anyway, just a recap here about St. John the Lateran. So have a listen to this. The Archbasilica Cathedral of the Most Holy Saviour and Saints John the Baptist and John the Evangelist in the Lateran, also known as the Papal Archbasilica of St. John in Lateran, St. John Lateran, or the Lateran Basilica, is the Catholic Cathedral Church of the Diocese of Rome in the city of Rome, and serves as the seat of the Bishop of Rome, the Pope. The Archbasilica lies outside the Vatican City proper, which is located approximately 4 kilometers to the northwest. Nevertheless, as properties of the Holy See, the Archbasilica and its adjoining edifices enjoy an extraterritorial status from Italy, pursuant to the terms of the Lateran Treaty of 1929. Laterano, or Lateran, comes from the ancient Roman family whose palace grounds occupied the site. The Lateran palace was primarily residence of the popes until the Middle Ages. The church is the oldest and highest ranking of all 4 major papal basilicas, as well as one of the 7 pilgrim churches of Rome, holding the unique title of Archbasilica. Founded in 324, it is the oldest public church in the city of Rome and the oldest basilica of the Western world. It houses the cathedra of the Roman bishop and has the title of Ecumenical Mother Church of the Catholic faithful. The building deteriorated during the Middle Ages and was badly damaged by 2 fires in the 14th century. It was rebuilt in the late 16th century during the reign of Pope Sixtus V. The new structure's interior were renovated in the late 17th century, and the facade was completed in 1732 by Pope Clement XII. So before I go on, I'm just going to read out the statement that was issued today by the Archbishop Guerino di Tora about what happened on the 18th of April. Just have a listen to this. Rome, 20th of April 2023. Statement. The Lateran chaplain, in the person of His Excellency Bishop Guerino di Toro, Chapter Vicar, expresses deep regret for what happened last Tuesday, 18th of April, inside the Basilica of St. John Lateran in Rome. In fact, a group of about 50 clergymen, accompanied by their bishop, all belonging to the Anglican Communion, celebrated on the high altar of Rome's cathedral in contravention of the canonical norms. Monsignore di Tora also explained that the unfortunate episode was caused by a breakdown in communication. His Excellency Bishop Guerino di Toro, Vicar of the Archpriest of the Lateran Basilica. So, after thousands of tweets and a lot of questioning over the last 2 days about what went on, the Vatican, or the Lateran Basilica, has come out at giving an explanation as to what happened. There was a breakdown in communication, and a bishop, former Freemason, divorced, not in communion with the Bishop of Rome, arrived into Rome and was able to celebrate, Mass there. I mean, I suppose it did leave a lot of people questioning, what is going on in the Vatican? I honestly ask, what is going on? Because I think it's important for people to understand a normal Catholic bishop, in communion with Pope Francis, any of the bishops around the world, can't just rock up into Rome and celebrate Mass in that basilica. Like a canonical bishop, in full communion with the Bishop of Rome, can't just arrive into Rome and say, I'll go up to there in front of the high altar there, in front of the cathedra of the Bishop of Rome. I'll just celebrate Mass there with my priests. It needs to be planned, it needs to be approved, etc., etc. You have to go through a series of things to be able to use that altar, that location in Rome to say Mass. It's not like you can just walk in there in the morning saying, is it free at 3:00, that altar? Do you mind if I use it with my priest? Yeah, let's all go up there. And people think I'm making a joke of this, but breakdowns of communication is one thing, but this is it's a breakdown of communication, and I really think it does highlight what has gone on in the church over the last 50 years, and especially in the last 2 years, as regards breakdowns in communication. I mean, we've had this synod of synodality, of which only 9% participated in Ireland, We've had traditionis custodes where the laity were never were consulted or asked, or and I can understand where the church is going. I can understand the complexities of what is going on, the divisions that were being caused. But I do think if you want to resolve divisions, why not have a space for communication? Why not allow the church to talk out these issues instead of creating more division in the church? Because this is what seems to be happening. We have breakdowns in communications in different places on different things. And this is just the latest incidents that's coming from Rome. I just think there's a better way that we can preach, teach, and live the faith, than allowing these breakdowns in the communications to continue. Anyway, let's see where this goes. I suppose we just have to take it on face value. It was a breakdown of communication, and a Freemason gets to celebrate Mass in the Pope's cathedral. I mean, there's been, what was it? Windswept House. Who is it? Remember this guy? Small, unknown. Hardly anybody remembers this Kerry priest. Malachi Martin. Anyone remember him? Minor figure in the church. A Jesuit, came from Kerry. Spoke a little bit about Freemason infiltration. And people say, that's conspiracy. That's conspiracy. Why are you reading conspiracy? The Freemasons, you know who are they? And yet, we have this situation where an actual Freemason, 20 years, open chaplain, can rock up in Rome with 50 priests and get access via a breakdown in communication to celebrate Mass in front of the cathedra of the Bishop of Rome, and then we wonder, is this really conspiracy? Is this really conspiracy, or are we facing the windswept house that Malachi Martin wrote and spoke about nearly 30 years ago? Anyway, I digress. Just let's see how this goes on. Maybe we'll see. Maybe traditional Catholics, that are in communion with Rome, maybe there will be more breakdowns in communication to allow them celebrate, say, a traditional Latin Mass in the Lateran Basilica from time to time. That's it was the Roman Rite used there for centuries. I suppose I think the church needs to understand why some Catholics would feel a little bit annoyed about over the last 2 days how these things can happen. But anyway, I don't want to seem unfair or unkind, but I suppose a lot of lay Catholics were asking, what is going on in the church? It's a legitimate question to ask. What is going on? Why isn't the faith taught? Why isn't the faith lived? I mean, there's human weaknesses, but there's also a lack of leadership. That's the sad thing in the church, a lack of real leadership to teach, preach, live, and fight for the faith. Many people will see it, and this is just the latest thing to hit Catholic media. So let's see where it goes. Anyway, God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.